Sorry, I think somebody messaged me and said that it was working, but I couldn't see anything. It was my screen was black and just said, unfortunately, we can't send this out. So start back up. I was talking about Medicaid expansion, just bringing up the fact that there was 150,000 people before COVID-19 started that fell in that gap, and with COVID, there's been a lot more. So
let's wait till we get some people back.
I'm getting ready to pull the turkey burgers off. The turkey burgers didn't cook as long as the beef burgers because they're not near as thick. Again, this is Cookout with Crum. This is our second go of it today because just a second ago we had some technical difficulties. So I'm hoping we get some more people to join us here. I see some people have joined us back. You can send in your questions just right there in the box, or you can send them on Twitter, or you can email them to crumforkansas@gmail.com. Still cooking for my parents. I've got their brats are on. I finished their hamburgers and their turkey burgers. Been answering questions about different items today. Talked about District 98, where it's located. Trying to diversify our workforce to help our economy. Medicaid expansion. Things like that. If you have any questions about anything, please message them in. Get going on these brats now. Gonna hand this off. Okay. Taking the turkey burgers in, going in to get our brats because I got to make our dinner, and also probably the zucchini. Hope everybody's enjoying this. Again, sorry we had to break the last one off. My daughter messaged and said, actually, you guys could see and hear me, but I didn't know that, so we started a new one back up. I hope everybody's joined us back. Again, please send me questions. Reminder that you can vote by mail right now. So absentee ballot. You can also go to the old courthouse in downtown Wichita to cast an early vote in person. And beginning next week, I don't say Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I believe. So a week from tomorrow, you can start, or actually, no, it isn't a week. Tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I believe satellite areas will open where you can go vote in person as well. You can find those lists on my Facebook page, which you should be watching this on right now. Just click up at the top, send you to after the video, it'll send you to the page, and you can find pictures of that or where you can vote on that on the satellite voting days. No matter where you are in Sedgwick County, you can go vote at any of those satellite things, and you can vote that way. So if you work out of the district that you would normally vote in, you can still go to the nearest voting site in that satellite group, and you would be able to go ahead and vote. Not ready for this. Go ahead and send in your questions if you got any. Again, I got my wife helping me out tonight. My daughter's helping us out track questions as well. She's in Massachusetts. Needless to say, technology can be a wonderful thing. Appreciate both of them helping.
There's questions on seasonings and sauces.
Seasons and sauces. We talked earlier on hamburgers and the turkey burgers that I made for my parents. I try to use dry seasonings for those. So like a dry onion soup or beefy onion soup mix, and maybe a few other seasonings that are all dry, because if you use moist seasonings with hamburgers and turkey burgers, it's really hard to make patties. So that's what I usually do with those. And I'm not doing pork chops tonight, but with pork chops and steaks, I'd use barbecue sauce. We talked about barbecue sauce. We had somebody earlier that mentioned Jim Beam barbecue sauce, I believe. Tom Collins. That was it. Tom Collins. But soy sauces, if you want a little sweeter taste, you can add soy sauce. Uh, you can do Worcestershire sauce, smoked sauce, and kind of mess around with some of those dry seasonings too that you can add to that. One thing I did mention earlier is that one thing I found is if you buy jalapenos, always save the juice inside those because they make a really nice addition if you're doing pork chops or steaks to give that just a little bit of a spice. So that's kind of what I use. Um, I'm not when it comes to marinades and stuff like that, I'm not a just use one brand kind of guy. So I'm not even I wouldn't recommend a brand. Just find something you like, and or sometimes I even go and see what's cheapest when you're making a big batch because you're going to use a lot of it. You might as well use it economically. Question.
Question came in is, what about advanced mailing and mail-in voting?
Advanced mailing and mail-in voting. Voting is one thing that's really being pushed this year with COVID. So people can stay in. You can still do that. I believe tomorrow is the deadline to request a mail-in ballot. Actually, that may have been yesterday. I'd have to double check on that. Maybe we'll look on my site later. We'll put that on there to find out for sure when it was. You do have to mail that by election day, so it needs to make sure that you get that mailed in. We've had mail-in ballots here in Kansas, really for a very long time. People have been doing it forever. College students that live away from home, the military, they're nothing new. Our election offices at the county level and the Secretary of State's office, they know how to handle this. The state's done it for a long time, and it's a very safe, secure way to vote. And this year with COVID, it's maybe even more safe. And if you after the primary, you will probably be getting a mailer or two from me that will also include applications for that. You can also get the applications online for your advanced voting like that. Please send in your questions. A lot of talk going on in the country right now with Black Lives Matter and police issues, how they handle different things. I know locally in Wichita and Hayesville, I'm not sure so much about Derby, that the police have taken steps to try to make things better. They've tried to work with different groups. I will say that I believe that it should be mandatory that every single law enforcement officer in the state of Kansas has multiple de-escalation classes that they need to take at the academy before they actually are out on the streets. There are about 6 different classes that would involve de-escalation, but none of them, I guess I shouldn't say, most of them are not required. It's up to each individual department whether or not they want their officers to be trained in that. I would like to see that choice be taken away and just everybody gets trained in those de-escalation 1 or 2 of the classes, and then they're required to do that every 5 years. They go back and take a couple more classes. Our police officers have to mess with things all the time that when the idea of police come along, they're having to deal with things that they never should have had to deal with. There's so many mental health issues out there. You've got more people out here that are hearing impaired, so they may be given orders, but that person doesn't know that. But we need to make sure that those de-escalation plans and the way to understand things like that are taught to our officers before they actually get out on the street. I know that the majority of officers do a great job. They're out here to help the community. I also would like to see them, though, the ones that are like that, they should feel more free to call out the officers that aren't doing what they're supposed to. I know there's been a lot of problem in the past where an officer doesn't feel like they can tattletale or let somebody know if somebody's doing something wrong. We need to get rid of that stigma and let officers know that those good officers need to make sure that they're calling those poor officers out so that we can get the situation fixed and somebody's not put in a bad situation. They got some brats going. Oh, we have a question.
Go ahead. No question.
Bailey. I can't think yet because I'm cooking. That's our watchdog, Bailey.
The first bet says it is too late to request mail-in ballots for primaries, but in-person voting is contact-free. You wear a mask and you can
Okay, so there you go. It is too late to ask for a mail-in ballot, but when you go do your in-person voting, it is, what did she call it? Safe? What did she call it?
Contact-free.
Contact-free. You'll vote. They'll give you a stylus to go in, and you'll be able to vote with that stylus that only you are handling. Thank you for that. That was a comment. Now we have a question. I think.
Well, I'm sorry, I lost mine. Just a second.
You live on Turkle, you cannot vote for me. You are in District 93. So that is District 93 right now is represented by J.C. Moore. You will have I know there's a Republican primary on that side. I do not know about the Democratic side off the top of my head. But no, I will not be on the ballot. That's in District 93. Although, if we get in here and get things districted the way they're supposed to after this census, which I could have some say in, there's a good chance that Hayesville would be one voting block again. So I'd like to see that happen.
We have another comment.
Another comment?
Another comment by Becky, and she says not to hijack your feed, but while they're voting, they vote for James Thompson, District 18, Division 25.
So if you have that judge and you're interested and you don't really like who's in there or what that is, then write in James Thompson. You got to make sure the name's spelled right. And I know you can find stuff about him online, and you can see where it was. District 25. What was the 18?
District 18 judge.
District
Division
18,
25.
Division 25, for James Thompson.
Question.
And that would be, I don't even know, is that, okay, we have another question. What's that?
What does KNA mean, and what do you do with them?
KNA is the Kansas branch of the National Education Association. It's a teacher union. With KNEA, I am just a member. I'm actually a member and the chief negotiator for the Hayesville Education Association, which is KNEA's umbrellas over the top of ours. So that's what KNEA is. I help negotiate contracts locally here with the school board, the administration. We do what's called interest-based bargaining. We've done that for years. The reason you haven't heard anything about how terrible negotiations are in Hayesville is because negotiations aren't terrible. We have actually presented at 2 or 3 different National School Board Association conferences because our negotiations go so well. But that's what KNEA is. It's the Kansas umbrella of the National Education Association Teachers Union, which I have been endorsed by them. I did not get a contribution because they're not giving contributions this year, but I am glad that I have an endorsement from them. Also have an endorsement from the Sierra Club, Jamon for Kansas. I got an A rating from the Women for Kansas voting group, so I'm proud of those things. I've been, of course, Tim Norton has endorsed me. Have another question?
Says, I live in Wichita Apartments on Seneca, but I work in Hayesville. Can I vote for you?
On Seneca, I would need to know how far north. If you are north of 47th Street, you could not vote for me. If you're south, you could vote for me. So north and south would depend on on where you work. Unfortunately, doesn't matter. Now, if you're at work here in Hayesville and you decide you want to vote and you're not in this district on your lunch, you can still go over to the for the early voting starting tomorrow. You can go to the Hayesville Library and you can vote there for the people that would be available in here. So if you're south of 47th Street, yes, you could vote for me. If you're north of Seneca, north of 47th Street, you would not be in my district. Oh, another question?
If you had to pick a favorite thing to grill, what would it be?
A favorite thing to grill? Uh, Probably pork chops. Uh, I like the marinating of the pork chops. I just kind of play around with that a little bit more, and it's also not near as messy as messing with the ground beef. Uh, I do enjoy cooking steaks. Uh, I just have more freedom with pork chops, I think. Uh, I probably like steak more, but as far as just marinating and getting stuff ready to go and then seeing what the taste is, probably pork chops. And who knows, after tonight, it might be zucchini. I doubt it, but it might be. I'm going to swipe that from you and ask if you can go get me something to put their brats in. I'm getting ready to take my parents' brats off, and I'm going to move my brats up to the front, and then we're going to try this zucchini thing. Again, this is a homegrown zucchini right here in our backyard. Um, Today I went out and we got a zucchini and we got a cucumber and we got 2 Anaheim jalapenos and we got 1 regular jalapeno and 2 cherry tomatoes. So we had a pretty good harvest today. It's one thing that happened with COVID. Bottom's really hot. Is I had a little bit of time. We had a little spot out here in the backyard that I thought would be handy to plant something, so we planted some stuff. And lo and behold, we've actually had a couple of lunches just out of stuff that we grew out here. So that's been kind of cool, actually. Okay, so I'm going to move these brats up a little bit. Remember, you can send in your questions just right here on your chat. I do want to mention, I do have a YouTube page. Um, you can look up and see, like, my last Cookout with Crum is on there. I also do a weekly update every Thursday at 6 o'clock. I get on. My daughter would like me to keep it to about 2 minutes. I try to keep it under 10. So that's kind of what happens with those, but I'll get on every Thursday at 6. Last week I actually did, I was close to 2 minutes because I wasn't home. I was doing it from a different location. But you can always check in there, and I'll be talking about things that are going on. That's right here on this page, same place you're watching this here. I also have my Twitter handle, again, is at SteveCrum1, and it's the digit 1. You can also find me on Instagram at that exact same thing, at SteveCrum1. And then I've got a web page, it's just crumforkansas.com. And you can send me messages and find that information through there too. Looks like we have another question.
This is from Becky, and she says, what will you do at the state level to address diversity and inclusion? And what are you currently doing on the Hayesville City Council to address the same?
I think one thing we have to do is reach out to leaders in different groups, whether it be sexual orientation, whether it be women groups, whether it be African American, Latino, Latinx. Reach out with those groups, find leaders in those groups, preferably young leaders in those groups. Talk to them to find out what their needs are. And after you find out what their needs are, try to meet those needs, but also nurture them as you're working on them with these needs, and try to encourage them to take that next step and try to maybe run for an office at a local level or a state level. I think that is a huge thing. Honestly, in Hayesville right now, especially with the way everything's kind of shut down a little bit, diversity is not a big thing in Hayesville. We do not have a very diverse citizenship right now. It's much more diverse than it was 10 years ago. but we need to find ways. I know at the school levels, we need to come up with clubs, find different ways to get kids more involved as a whole. And I think that's one thing that's good about is I know that at the high school, um, I don't think there's really much of an issue there because the kids just all get along really well and they work together, and that's what we need to see in all levels. I think it's going to come from the younger kids on up. And again, the biggest thing I can do to help is to reach out to groups, try to find younger people in those groups that have leadership qualities, and nurture those and try to get them to run for office as they get older.
And a more specific question is, do you support LGBTQ plus workers' rights and adoption rights?
Uh, I filled out a couple of campaign questionnaires on this, and when anybody ever asks me about this, all I can really say is that in the Constitution, it says all men are created equal, and I consider the way it was written in that means everybody. So it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what sex you are, it doesn't matter how you identify, it does not matter who you love. Everybody's created equal, everybody should have the same rights. Nobody's rights should be infringed upon because of a belief they have. So that's kind of my view on that. Is if you want to have problems with that, then you got a problem with the Constitution.
You have a request to see some food.
We took a bunch of stuff in. I'll tell you what, I'll show you this. I'm getting ready to try this for the first time ever. This is a zucchini that we picked, and Paige has put a bunch of stuff on it here, and I'm going to try to grill this. So this is the first time. I did forget to show you the burgers after I took them on. While I'm putting these on, actually, I'm going to let Paige tell you what she put on the zucchini.
If you can hear me, it's not extravagant. I just put butter together with some garlic and onion salt, and a little bit of actually cayenne pepper. That's what actually I put on a lot of things. I really like that. So it's kind of a secret on my stuff. So it's not terribly extravagant, but we'll see how it works out.
And again, I'm doing this just on the fly. I did cheat a little bit earlier and look online to get some ideas. Most of them just said to cook it about 3 minutes on a side. So as you can see, or not see, I don't know. I don't have a watch on me or a clock. So I'm probably going to guesstimate. And there we go. I'm going to let those cook up a little bit. And then I've got our brats on here. Go ahead and fire some more questions at me if you want. I did mention how you can get a hold of me. I will say, unfortunately, one thing that I really don't like about campaigning is having to ask for money, because like I said earlier, there's way too much money involved in politics and campaigning. But that's the only way I can get my word out. So if you liked what you heard tonight, would consider contributing to my campaign, I would greatly appreciate that. You can do that through this website, or you can go to crumforkansas.com on that website and find the contribute button there and do that. One other thing I want to talk about that I was going to talk about last time I did this and then forgot about it, well, I'm kind of wrapping this up, is school choice, because you hear a lot about that at the federal level right now. Guys, it's not school choice, it's school's choice. And I always correct people when they say that. School choice really isn't that. It's school's choice, because the school gets to decide who. Private schools and charter schools, they get to pick their clientele. So if you decide, we talked about the LGBTQ plus earlier. There may be a private school that's running on vouchers, and they're touting school choice, and somebody comes and they are, or their parents are, and that school says, no, we're not interested. That's not your choice. That's the school's choice. It's always been the school's choice. It is up to public schools don't turn away kids. Doesn't matter what their socioeconomic is. It doesn't matter what their parents do. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if they're rich. It doesn't matter if they're poor. It doesn't matter if they have a learning disability. That's why it's so important that our tax dollars are protected and go to public schools, not to a voucher system, not to private schools. Those are private schools because those people choose to go there, so it's all right for them to pay to go there without having tax dollars go there when not everybody can take advantage of that. So that's kind of my idea. It's not school choice, it's school's choice. Our brats are starting to get a little bit close. Still got about a minute or so on that zucchini. So we got any other questions coming in? We probably got about 2 or 3 minutes, and looks like we got one more question.
How will you be transparent? How can we know how you vote and you keep your promises?
How will you guys know? How am I going to be transparent? How will I make sure that you guys know what I'm doing up there? Honestly, I can see me continuing my Thursday evening talks at 6 o'clock, even when I'm in Topeka, just to give an update of what's going on. I'm very active on social media when I'm up there on Facebook and on Twitter to let you know what was voted on and how I voted. And you can always email me at whether I'm up there or not, because I'll have when I'm up there, I will have a representative's email. But you can always email me at crumforkansas at gmail.com, and I will do my very best to get back with you and explain things to you. If you'd like to get on my email list, you can go to on my webpage, crumforkansas.com. You can get on there and you can sign up to be on an email list. Every 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, I'll send something out on that just to give information. You might have got a message that I was going to do an event like this. So if you're interested in that, you could go ahead and get on that too. I'm going to need something to put our brats on here. And we're going to flip the zucchini. I cannot believe I'm cooking vegetables on my grill. Kids, vegetables are good for you. You should eat those. I will say, if I'm going to cook vegetables on a grill, I'm glad they're vegetables that I grew. Woo, that's hot. I'm having trouble getting that one. Yeah, again, guys, please reach out to me if you have questions. Again, I want to thank my wife and Paige and my daughter Glenn for helping me out tonight. You guys want to tell them hi, happy birthday to Tim Norton again. Getting ready to wrap it up here. I probably have time for one more question. If anybody would like to send a question in or a comment. Actually, I'm probably going to get that for the price. I hope everybody's enjoyed this. This is probably something I may try to do every, say, 5 to 6 weeks. I think we did the last one about 5 weeks ago. Just kind of a cool way for me to be able to field some questions. Give me something to do in the background, and my parents like it because they get a bunch of grilled food that they get to eat throughout the time coming up. So, any other questions out there? So I got our brats done. The zucchini honestly looks pretty good right now. It's got about 2 minutes left. Got all that food for my parents, and then I'm taking off dinner for Paige and I. And we'll see how the zucchini turns out in a minute. The brats look good. Oh, there you go. Again, I forgot. Here's the brats. Don't those look lovely? Again, I really take a long time preparing those things. As you saw me opening the package. And now I need to know where the zucchini is going to go. Back in that. Okay. And we have one more question.
The question is, what about COVID reopening?
COVID right now, unfortunately, here in Sedgwick County, we're going backwards. As I think everybody that's been paying attention is seeing, our numbers are going up. We've got a little over, I want to say somewhere around 208 ICU beds in Wichita at the 3 major hospitals. And as of yesterday or the day before, There was about 186 of those in use. Um, so we have to be really careful with the opening. What's really important is if you do go out in public is to wear a mask. Um, Wearing a mask is not a big deal. People in medical field do it all the time. It does not do anything to your oxygen level. It's been demonstrated dozens and dozens of times on the internet. It helps protect you, but mostly it also helps protect other people around you. Yes, the virus is smaller than what the fibers are in a cotton mask, but you know what? Those fibers, that virus can travel a lot further on moisture as it leaves, and that cotton or those masks knock down that moisture, so those viruses can't go near as far either. So please wear a mask. That's going to help us get our economy going again. Help get restaurants and bars back open that cannot take people now. Again, bars got shut down again. So it's just really important that you wash your hands. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. If you're out, wear a mask. Think about other people. A lot of people out there uh, have health concerns, and it's just really important that they stay safe. Uh, as a community, we need to make sure we're keeping each other safe. That's kind of that. We're going to wrap this up. Um, I don't know if I want to show them. I got to see if they're any good. Here we got some zucchini. Nice little grill marks there. So we'll be interested to see how this tastes. After we have a chance to eat them, we'll put a comment on here to let you know if they turned out any good. Again, thanks a lot. Reminder, on this same page, on every Thursday at 6, I'll give an update. So if you'd like, you can join me tomorrow at 6. Those are always 5 to 10 minutes, usually tops. And hope everybody has a great evening. And I wish you all well. Take care.